Okay, so this is another acting tip, and it's also a story about JAG. So when you're doing a weekly television show, you get into kind of a groove. The regular actors on the show know the crew knows them, everybody kind of knows everybody's pacing, and so it's kind of difficult if you're a guest actor. In addition, with JAG, it was a military law show, so not only did they have the military jargon to contend with, but they had the law jargon to contend with. Now, for the most part, most of the actors that came on the show obviously were very, very talented. In fact, I think they did a really good job. But today I'm going to tell you about a story about what you should never do as an actor or a guest star. We had this one guy, and I'm not going to tell you his name, not because I'm protecting him. It's just that you would not know him if you saw him. Trust me. It's not about the guy. It's about what he did and what you shouldn't do as an actor. So he was playing a captain, and he's one of these guys that loves to tell the stories. Now, I'm one of those guys too, but not when I'm working. So he's on the set telling all of the stories about, oh, I worked with this guy, and I worked with this guy. And it's like, okay, great. And so we get to his scene, which is about 3 pages, and it's a lot of dialogue. Well, this guy didn't know his dialogue, okay? And it wasn't like one of those things where he had kind of like forgotten part of it, but he had most of it. He just didn't know it. He didn't put the work in to memorize it. And everyone's kind of like, oh no, what's going on? Because we did the rehearsal and he didn't really know the dialogue. But a lot of times people will come through when we start shooting. So we did a couple of takes of the scene, and sure enough, he's making mistakes all over the place. And so our crew, who are awesome, they offer to make him cue cards. Hey, why don't we make the cue cards? He goes, no, I don't need it. And so we're kind of held hostage by this guy. And this guy's ego would not let it go. He wanted to make sure that everyone knew that he knew his lines, except he didn't. So now it's like 10, 12, 13, 14 takes. This is a lot for a TV show and certainly a lot for JAG, and he can't get this dialogue. And it's the type of dialogue that you need to get in order for the plot to go forward. So the writers come down and they start taking lines out, which only confused him more because then he'd remember the lines that they took out, but not the lines that they left in. It was a nightmare until finally this guy started getting really defensive. He started going, maybe I shouldn't have gone to the softball game this weekend, and maybe I should have studied my script. And it's like, maybe, why is that your attitude? Like, why are you telling us why you didn't study your lines? This goes on, and now it's 4 a.m. in the morning, and we are like at take 50, and this guy still isn't getting it. We ended the night at 5 o'clock in the morning on take 64. The director of the episode was spent. The guy was still not repentant at all, even though there was not one take where he remembered all of his dialogue. But with the script supervisor and the director, they figured they had enough to put together a performance where all the dialogue was there. And when Don Belisario called the actor's agent and yelled at him and said, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? Why is this guy like this? The agent, as a good agent should, defended their actor, right? So Don, who is pretty gangster, he sent them the dailies, which is what you print. And when the agent saw that it was 64 takes of this guy just trying to find his dialogue, that the agency dropped him. I haven't seen the guy work ever since. It was a nightmare. So yeah, that was the night of 64 takes on JAG.